Hi, I'm Ashley, and I'm the bravest girl in the world. Like, literally. Once on a picnic when I was 7, I spotted a thief running away with a little girl's necklace. I picked a trash bin and threw it right at him. He fell down and people ran and caught him. Everyone appreciated my bravery except my mom and my twin sister, Becca.
Do you think you're Superwoman, Ashley? These thieves will chop you like peppers.
Ashley, why can't you be more like Becca? She never jumps into other people's business.
Ugh, I never knew why Mom and Becca were so mean to me. I wish I could put them on sale. Years passed, and Becca grew up to be this over-beautiful girl while I looked just normal. Boys would just drool over her while no one would dare approach me. But one day in high school, I was in the library when I noticed a boy staring at me. That was strange. Boys don't even turn to my side, but this one walked up to me.
Hey, beautiful. Your big eyes and long hair. You're pretty.
Stop. I know I'm not. Is this a prank or what? Stop fooling me. I pushed him aside and walked to my class. There, I saw the same boy. It turned out he was Jason, a new student. He was nothing short of handsome, and girls were going gaga over him, especially Becca, but he never even looked at her. I was staring at him as I walked to my place, but then I slipped on something and went flying straight into his arms.
Hey, are you okay? You didn't let me finish back then. You're really pretty.
Gosh, same dialogue? You're boring. He laughed. He seemed like a really nice guy, and we became friends effortlessly. After hanging out together for a few months, we realized we were actually falling for each other. We'd talk on call all night, but Becca didn't like it very much. She barged into my room angrily one day with a plate full of pasta. I thought it was for me to eat. No. She flipped the plate over my head. Take it for pulling Jason away from me. You know how much I loved him? Just when he was about to fall for me, you spoil it. What? Are you mad? Nothing like that ever happened. Jason was never into you. In fact, he never will fall for people like you. I took some pasta from my head and rubbed it on her face. We then got into a cat fight when Mom came in. Becca lied that I betrayed her by dating Jason, her only love. Mom turned furious at me.
Ashley, you live on my charity, and you're trying to ruin my own daughter's life? I gave you all the comforts that no stepmom would ever give, and yet you do this?
Wait, what? She was my stepmom? Turns out she's my dad's second wife. My real mom died when I was just 1. Oh my God! This was why Mom and Becca always hated me? Mom, I'm not done yet. I gotta teach her a lesson today. Just as she was about to jump on me, she accidentally pushed Mom, who fell straight on the floor, hit her head, and fainted. We immediately took her to the hospital. Looked like she got an internal brain injury and is now like a 5-year-old child. This was so sad. More than the fact she's not my real mom, the present condition she's in didn't let me leave her side. I got closer to her like never before. One day, we took her to a nearby park, but then she tried to snatch a kid's doll to play with. I stopped her, but she threw herself on the ground and started rolling and shouting.
I want that doll now! I want now!
Everyone in the park stared at us. Becca felt so embarrassed that she started yelling at Mom. Just shut up, you crazy woman! God. Look, everyone, I'm not with them. Do whatever you want with them. She was insane, and Mom was crying like a baby until I got her a doll on the way home. And we both watched some Hear My Story videos together. Hey, y'all should subscribe and watch them too, because my mom and I love them. Day by day, I realized how serious Mom's situation was, and I really needed money to get her treated, so I took up a part-time job at a nearby cafe. But what shocked me more was seeing Becca totally lost in her own life and never caring for Mom. How could she do that to a woman who loved her so much? I wish I could give her some hard lessons, but Mom took that burden off me. One evening, as Becca was getting ready for a date, Mom picked her dress and put it in the bonfire. Whoa, the dress was in flames, and Becca was too. She held Mom's hand angrily. You lady! You know how costly this is? Gosh, this is getting too much! I can't stay with this mad lot anymore. Both of you, just leave my house now. What? Then I came to know that Mom had already transferred the house to Becca's name. Now I had no option but to leave with Mom, to nowhere I know. Becca asked us to leave everything and go empty-handed. I looked into my mom's eyes. She had no clue what was happening.
Yay! We'll leave. Ashley, time for picnic, picnic, picnic.
I held her hand and left the house. I knew Jason was out of the country for higher studies, and I couldn't even talk to him now because Becca took my phone, too. I remembered a distant relative's place. When I reached and banged on her door, she peeped out from the window and said her home isn't some mental asylum. We had to leave. I know it's difficult to stay on the streets of such a big city with so little money, so I thought it would be better to move to Mom's native countryside. We took a bus that same night. It was a small village with farms, forests, and rivers. I made a tent under a big tree to stay in, and then I started visiting all the houses there, asking if they had some work for me. That's when I heard some cry and a water splash sound from the nearby pond. I ran and noticed a man was drowning. I immediately jumped in the water and dragged him out safely. He was unconscious, and I pressed hard on his belly to get all the water out. A few minutes later, he was completely fine.
Thank you so much, my dear. You didn't care about your own life and saved me.
Not a big deal, sir. I know swimming. Anyways, good to see you're okay.
You look new here. Who are you?
When I told him the whole story, he hired me to work on one of his many flower gardens. He also gave me a room in his guest house to live in. My life got a new beginning. Jason was still in my heart, and I terribly missed him. While I worked on the garden collecting flowers, Mom would fly across the shrubs like a bee. She was a cutie. Mr. Tyson was so good, except that he often asked me if I'd marry his son who was about to be back home next year. One day, when I was feeding my mom, he came to me and asked about it again. Mr. Tyson, I never said this to anyone. You're the first person I'm telling this to. I'm only into girls and never boys. I'm sure you'd not want to spoil your son's life. In that, I walked off, because it was the first time I had told such a big lie and couldn't make eye contact with him. I hoped finally now he'd stop nudging me on that. But this wasn't my only issue in the village. There was one more thing more hurtful. Some people had a habit of laughing at my mom. Like one afternoon while working on the garden, I noticed I forgot to bring my lunch and was feeling hungry too. Then Mom running towards me with the lunchbox.
Ashley, your lunchbox. You hungry? You hungry?
And suddenly she tripped over something and fell down and started crying like a baby. People who worked with me started laughing. Mom, you are supposed to stay home. You shouldn't come here to see me.
But Ashley, you hungry? You hungry?
I hugged her. This time I knew I was the mother here. Suddenly, there was a lot of commotion and I heard a lot of noise. I ran and saw a big crowd. Turned out, the wall of the dam is leaking, and if it breaks, half the village will drown. I thought of a plan. I went to the site and started digging away for the water to flow outside of the village, but I couldn't do it alone, so I pleaded the villagers. Come on, people! I know I can get you all out of this problem, but I just need help. Let's make a way towards the outer edge of the village so that even if the dam breaks, the water would move there. Mr. Tyson was there too. He motivated them all and everybody joined me. We picked our shovels and started digging. Mom was motivating everyone by cheering them up and clapping for them. After a couple of hours, we successfully created an alternate path. The dam did break, and the water rushed to the outer ring of the village, just like I expected. Some people went on their knees to thank me. Mr. Tyson appreciated me too.
I'm really proud of you, Ashley. You're an inspiration for all the people. You've saved our village and the lives of so many people. Would you like to marry my son?
But, Mr. Tyson, I told you I'm
Come on, I'm a 50-year-old man. You can't fool me.
Just then, Mom started jumping out of happiness.
Yay! Marriage, marriage, party, cake!
Oh, Mom. I knew I'd never be able to give Mr. Tyson's son the love he deserved, but for the happiness of my mom and all the people around, I finally agreed. The next day, when Mr. Tyson was showing the news of my bravery in the newspapers, he suddenly said,
Ashley, I want to make you CEO of one of my companies. How do you like the offer?
CEO? One of his companies? What was he talking about? It turned out Mr. Tyson was a millionaire who runs many tech companies in big cities, but he spent his major time in this village since he loved a simple life. OMG! This was the biggest surprise.
I believe in your hard work and intelligence, and I'm sure having you as the CEO, my company would soon touch the sky.
Definitely, Mr. Tyson. You believe in me and I'd never break your trust. The next day, I was back to my home city again, because that's where Mr. Tyson's head office was. I never thought I'd be back to this cruel city, but now things were different. I joined the company as the CEO and started working hard day and night. Soon, I doubled the turnover, and with the salary hike, I became quite rich. I bought a mansion and cars. With days passing, the numbers just kept on increasing. Mom and I were living like queens now. But then, one Sunday, Becca was at my door.
Ashley, I heard you're here. You know, my boyfriend betrayed me. He got the house in his name and threw me out. Please take me in. Mom, I've missed you so much.
And just when she tried to hug her, I snapped. Now you know she's your mom? Why? 'Cause you're down and gotta know we're rich? Wasn't she your mom when she needed you the most? Jerks like you have no place in my life and my house. Just get lost. And I shut the door on her. 2 months later, it was my engagement party with Mr. Tyson's son, the one I had never seen or talked to before. He said his son was a bit shy to talk to girls before marriage. I was sitting nervously in my room while guests were waiting in the party hall. Was I really going to lose Jason? How can I get engaged to a guy who I don't love? No, I can't let this happen. Suddenly, someone knocked on my door, and I burst it open, shouting, "I'm sorry, Mr. Tyson, I can't marry your son. I love Jason and..." Jason? You? Turns out, Mr. Tyson's son was Jason himself. We hugged each other and he lifted me up in the air.
Ashley, I was wondering where you might be, or if I'd lose you. That's when Dad once sent me your photo and said everything. I promised him you were straight. And we decided to wait for this surprise. I love you.
My eyes were filled with tears as he put a ring in my finger. Oh my God, my life was picture perfect now. But not every story gets a happy ending, right? Meet my friend, Emma. Life tossed her back and forth with miseries. But you know how she took control? Come look for yourself.
Nathan, where are you? It's our wedding day, remember? Yes, of course I'm here. Where are you? Babe, I love you. Why are you doing this to me? Again!
At the courthouse, Emma, beautifully dressed as a bride, is frustratingly trying to coerce her fiancé to show up and marry her.
What do you mean she's late? I thought that she was the ringer. I've got less than 20 minutes. I don't care how you do it, just find me a bride. And you've got less than 20 minutes.
Wait, it's Amber, isn't it? Nate? Nathan? Did you hang up on me?
Meanwhile, a panicked Eric is talking to his assistant and is still desperate to find himself a bride.
You have to understand that if this marriage doesn't happen, there is no business, there is no money. I've got less than 10 minutes now. Just find me a bride.
Heartbroken, and now fueled by a jealous spite, after realizing the depth of Nathan's betrayal, Emma approaches Eric Roberts.
I'll marry you. Will you marry me?
Look, miss, I appreciate the offer, but I've already got a bride. I just don't know where she is.
Yeah, are you sure about that, Romeo? Look, my fiancé is clearly having an affair and afraid to commit, so it is over. And it's obvious the time isn't on your side either. Plus, what am I supposed to do with these flowers?
Okay, fine. Let's get married.
Eric Roberts has never believed in love, let alone marriage. However, being forced with the very real possibility that he is about to lose his business and personal fortune, he is between a rock and a hard place. So today, he has no choice but to finally get married today.
I call this court to order. We are gathered here today by witness of the state to marry you, Eric Roberts, and you.
Tell the judge your name.
Emma Miller.
After hearing her speak her name, Eric is taken aback. For the first time, he really looks at Emma, and her beauty mesmerizes him. Who is Emma Miller, and why is she getting married so hastily? To a total stranger at that. Has Emma fallen into a trap in desperation? To find out, listen to the audiobook, The Billionaire's Accidental Bride.